See, I have the goalpost set to getting back to the NFC Championship game because another reason that I'm looking at this is it then tells me consistency. It tells me that you're not a one-year wonder. It means you have the staying power that you can get back, and now you're in the upper tier, that you're always going to be considered as a Super Bowl contender. Get back to the NFC title game. Now, after next season, I will agree with you and say if you make it back there, it's Super Bowl or bust. But show me that you can follow up this year next year. And it's not to take away from their accomplishments this year.
I'm not accusing you of that. Listen, some people will take it however they want to take it.
That's not for you. That's for the people out there that are trying to angrily text the show right now. It's not saying I'm taking away from anything. Making it back to the NFC title game is consistency because it's hard to do. Ask the Eagles, okay? They went to Super Bowl. Thought they were going to win the thing. They were this close, and they didn't make it out the first round of the playoffs.
Right, but for as much runway as we think the Lions have, and I think there's quite a bit of runway. They're a young team. They have the cap space to keep their own and keep upgrading. Brad Holmes, keep finding dudes. They're going to win a lot of games moving forward. But however long you think the runway is, I'm going to tell you it's not as long as you think it is. Because your offensive line, how much longer are they going to be elite? How much longer is Ben Johnson going to be here? How long until you have to churn the roster over? How long until all that cap space gets sopped up by paying Hutch, Sewell, St. Brown, and the Goff extension? My point is, you're not 5-year windows are rare.
Oh, no.
This may be 2 or 3 years where you got the sweet spot, and you're going to be competitive beyond that. But the sweet spot might be a 2 or 3 year window while you still have Johnson, while guys are still on their rookie deals, while you can maximize your cap space.
You're right.
This is the year to go win the Super Bowl.
Jim, you're right, because rewatch the game, like in the second half, it's why I say, you know what? One of the things you may want to go after, figure out what you're going to do with Jackson. Is, he gets hurt a lot. Ragnow. It was the interior of the line that got blown up. When all of a sudden, from the fumble of Jahmyr Gibbs, they met him at the line. They literally just threw.
Well, he never had the ball.
No, but I'm saying, like, all the plays, like the all of a sudden, that line that held up so well in the first half got blown up in the interior in the second half on all the key plays. If you go back and watch them, you had Niners that were beating the offensive linemen. That wasn't happening. So you need to fix that. But yes, the 5-year run, I'm not talking about that, but I do think your window is probably at least another 2 years, which is what consistency. Get back there, and once you're back at the table, make your own luck.
You can't win it unless you're there. I get it. All right. Where are you guys putting the goalposts? Let's get to Mike. You're on 97.1.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Hey, Mike.
I tried to call the show Friday because I had a question, and Mike was there, and he had said that Ben Johnson was an excellent choice. And my question was going to be to him, well, what makes him that choice? There's been a lot of guys. And let me say this first of all. I'm not surprised he stayed, but I'm happy as hell he stayed. Mm-hmm. But my question is that a lot of people have been, quote unquote, the next person, being an offensive coordinator, and people just tend to say that person is supposed to be a head coach. I've not once heard Ben Johnson say that. I can look at our defensive coordinator, and he acts the part. Not to say that it's a difference, but I want to say this about the defense, because that's what I was most impressed with. I've been watching football a long time, and I have never seen it where a team did not have a number one defensive back and no pass rush and almost make it to the Super Bowl. So what he did with that talent that's on that defense has been taken very lightly, because that defense, the type of talent that goes up against you to get to the Super Bowl, those coaches know that that's their weakness. And having said that, So my question is this. In order for me to say what my expectations are for next year, the general manager is going to have to – that's all his focus needs to be. And then once he makes all these decisions prior to preseason – I'll let you know whether or not it's final two. I'm more of final two, making it to the final four, than just saying Super Bowl or bust. But that general manager, buddy, last year, okay, I'm happy with what you did. But the defense, that's all I want you to talk about, Mr. Holmes, is defense. Defensive backs, I need some athletes up front that can get to the quarterback. These young quarterbacks in the league now, you better come at me or we gonna roast you.
No, Mike,
You're
I'm
right.
with you because that really, I mean, people talk about the going for it and all of that. Yeah. I'll give TJ Lang full credit because he was the only one that mentioned it before the game. He was worried. On Friday's show, he was like, Brock Purdy breaking containment and running. Brock Purdy was over under 7.5 yards rushing. Easiest money ever made. He rushed for over 50 yards. They took some away from the kneel downs, but yeah, he broke containment and you didn't have the athletes to go out there and get him. That wasn't Lamar.
248-539-9797. We have Chris. You're next up. Chris, you're on 97.1.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hey, Chris.
Hey, so what I want to say is obviously we're all upset about the result of the game, but especially after the news today, Ben Johnson staying, we have such a bright future, not just because of him, but because of the culture that we established. People want to be here. People want to come here. And now I think it's the time that we make a splash. I'm already looking forward to next year. I'm already looking at free agency saying, what moves can we make? Honestly, we have some free agents coming up on the roster. You have Josh Reynolds, who's a free agent. No emotion behind what happened in the game. I think that we let him go. I think we can get an upgrade there. There's a lot of good receivers out there, but we only need one. Some of our offensive linemen, Jonah Jackson, Vaitai.
Glasgow.
I think we can spare them. CJ, I think that we can spare them. I think we keep Glasgow. But our positions of strength, our safeties, and our O-line, I think that's where we can shed a little bit of salary, where we don't need to keep everybody.
Yeah, I don't see C.J. Gardner-Johnson coming
get
back.
one big receiver, and then the rest spend on defense.
Rico, was your point?
Yeah, I don't see C.J. Gardner-Johnson coming back. I mean, what he did in that game showed me he's the opposite of what Ben Johnson just did. Ben Johnson just put the team above his own thing. You put your own personal beef with Debo. Like, yeah, you still scored a touchdown. But when Rodriguez gets the interception, and then you blindside Debo because what? You're angry at him for some reason? That was just dumb. What are you doing?
Well, and did you see Dan Campbell before the game acknowledge that there was, some beef? He just said, as long as you don't commit a 15-yard penalty.
And that's
the thing he did, is commit a dumb, selfish 15-yard penalty.
And it was a punk move. You blindsided somebody. Like, you didn't even go up, and it wasn't one of those battles where you two are swinging at each other.
And you just kept going past the whistle. It wasn't that.
He's standing there. You're 10 yards past the play, and you blindside him and then pull the Tayshaun Prince. What, me? Yes, it was you. Yeah. No, I can't see him bringing him back. No. He plays the villain role. He did the ski mask. I think it's time to move on and upgrade that position.
All right, we're setting goalposts, expectations for the next season. Ben Johnson back. All of the sadness of Sunday, it doesn't undo it, but it softens the blow. It's 97.1.